Welcome to another edition of the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line. I'm Frank Walker, Vice President of Governmental Affairs here at the Florida Chamber, and joining us today on the program is Representative Holly Raschein from the Keys. Representative Raschein, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with something that was certainly very impactful to your district and really the entirety of the state of Florida, and that's Hurricane Irma. So I guess the first question on our mind is, how is the recovery effort progressing? And then from a legislative perspective, what do you see this year coming out of the legislature in response to that disaster?
Thank you so much, Frank. And every day we get a little better in the Keys. We've got our essential needs covered right now: food, fuel, and water, and communications. But now we're kind of in the harder long-term recovery phase. And housing is a critical need right now. Of course, putting our economy back together. Tourism is our #1 industry, so just letting folks know that we are open for business. We're a little bit changed right now, but we are getting better day by day.
So you mentioned the tourism industry, and that's obviously a huge economic driver in Florida. We had 113 million visitors in 2016, and many of them found their way down to the Keys to spend the $108 billion that they spent while they were here and support the 1.4 million jobs that are relying on the tourism industry. So one of the things that the Chamber has always been very supportive of and has partnered with is Visit Florida, which is the state's official tourism marketing corporation. We've seen two different budgets out of the Senate and the House with regard to Visit Florida's funding. Give us a peek behind the curtain and give us your best prediction of where that all ends up.
Sure thing. And Visit Florida is an incredible agency. We saw what they can do for a community firsthand after Hurricane Irma, and sharing the message that the Florida Keys, while we did sustain a lot of damage, we were open for business and welcomed folks back into the Keys. And it is my hope that we will see both chambers come together and understand that these dollars pay for themselves and are so beneficial to our state, which again, tourism is our #1 industry, not only in the Keys, but the entire state of Florida. And it's my hope that the Senate will see and come to the House's position.
Well, everybody got there last year, and we ended up with full funding, so we'll be hoping to partner with you in that process as we move along this year as well. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about another issue that is near and dear to our members' hearts, but not necessarily in a positive way, and that's frustrations they experience with the permitting process, specifically with the Army Corps of Engineers permitting process. You have a bill that would seek to streamline that effort. Can you tell us a little bit about it and why Florida would benefit from what is really an assumption of authority in this case?
Florida is perfectly poised to assume this section of permitting from the federal government, and that's the 404 section, which deals with a lot of community needs, dock permits, things that, maybe we don't need the federal government to approve. And Floridians and our agency employees understand our environment, our needs. They have firsthand knowledge. And again, we are a trailblazer in this. Our standards when it comes to our environment are very high. And with assuming Section 404, those standards are not going to change. And they may even be heightened, but they will never be lowered. And again, our folks here in the state already do a lot of the permitting processes that are required by 404. So it's streamlining government, it's being more efficient for our residents, and just the next and right step for the state of Florida.
All the while not giving up any environmental protections whatsoever.
Correct, and we cannot highlight that point enough. We are not lessening standards, we are keeping them very high, if not higher.
Sounds like a win-win not only for the business community but the state of Florida, so we're looking forward to partnering with you on that effort. I think that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you for being here, and to our viewers, thank you for joining us for another edition of the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line.